Greetings, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today for the World Design Congress webinar. It's a very exciting moment for everyone at WDO and for the WDO community as we are coming closer to this 34th World Design Congress and General Assembly next September in London. Since our foundation in 1957 as ICSID, the International Council of Industrial Design, the design community has met every 2 years to exchange their practices on design, to learn from each other, to network and connect, develop projects and initiatives, as well as to define the future of our own organization. Now, as WDO, we're very proud to have the Design Council as our host for this year's Congress and General Assembly. Today, my name is Bertrand de Rome. I'm here to launch this webinar, but I'll be joined by two key colleagues for this upcoming event. Our Community Engagement Officer, Dorothy Balad. If you're a new member, you've probably already met her on an onboarding meeting. If you're a long-standing member, I hope you've connected already. If not, you should do, because she's the key person, the key point of contact for all our membership. We'll have also with us Nathalie Dutil, our communications manager. She's the mastermind behind the Congress and General Assembly, so key people to be in contact with regarding any concerns, questions that you might have regarding the General Assembly and Congress. And today our objective is to go over most of the questions that you might have and to benefit fully from this upcoming event. Thanks to our colleagues from the Design Council, Alex from Design Council will be presenting the Congress program. We'll go through also registration information to make sure that you're all set and you have all your proper access, the General Assembly, general information and data, including nomination and election processes, as well as all the social events that will happen before, from 8th of September to after on the 12th of September and beyond. And we'll conclude with answering all your questions and concerns that you might have. Please use the Q&A section of this webinar, as well as the chat, to inform us from where you are, but the Q&A section will allow us to capture all questions that you might have and answer them in that specific section. So now let me please, without further ado, transfer the stage to Alex McCordon-Gale from the Design Council for her presentation of the Congress program. Alex, to you.
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen. Right, I think you can see my screen. Right. Hello, everybody. I'm Alex McCorkindale, and I'm the executive producer for the World Design Congress here in London for 2025. Before I jump in to talk a bit about the programme, I wanted to talk about how thrilled we are to be hosting it in London, and why for us it's important to host in London and indeed the UK. Although we've never been officially handed the World Design Capital from WDO, we see ourselves as a proud design capital. We've got over 25,000 design businesses here. Some I think are on the call today. We see some of the legends and pioneers coming out of London: Vivienne Westwood, Johnny Ive, James Dyson, and of course Lord Foster, who will be speaking at Congress. We have really involved a lot of the design community across London and the UK in terms of how we bring this programme together, and we're really thrilled to have it here. So my job here today is to give you a bit of a rundown in terms of my role as executive producer and how me and the team have been bringing the programme together. The big thing I want to say is a lot of my colleagues will know is we chose the Barbican as to be the venue that we host at. that was incredibly important to us. We see the Barbican as a beacon of design within the cultural capital of the UK, not least because it's going through a big renewal programme that's just been announced, which the Design Council are working with it on. The venue itself is a brutalist architectural building. I say this joke around many of the design global colleagues, but I know that the UK are very proud of it, and some people get here and go, wow, it's incredibly brutalist, but a wonderful building that we are taking over on the 9th and 10th of September, including the beautiful conservatory. So across my presentation today, I've put photographs so you can see it. If you don't know the venue very well, I know that there's a lot of people on this call that do see it. I just want to double check for background. Can you see my screen? I just need somebody to say yes. I think you can see my presentation in the chat. No. Okay. I'm going to carry on. Right. So I thought the most important thing was to give you some headlines here about what we're trying to achieve. We very much, when we sat down to plan out the Congress, it was about creating a catalytic moment. And as a producer, how do you create a catalytic moment? So where we've got to now is we've got 80 speakers across 2 days across the Barbican. We've got, of course, 1,200 delegates joining us from all over the world. We've got Congress sessions, which I define as the 1,200 delegates together in one space, really coming together to discuss key points around Design for Planet. And then we have Hive sessions. And the idea of Hive sessions is to allow those 1,200 delegates to move out of the main hall, across the Barbican, and to have lots of different experiences to connect, to discuss, to debate, and to grow and kind of learn together. And so what we're doing across the main stage is a series of keynotes, conversations, discussions and provocations. And then we move into the afternoon, and I'll talk about this in more detail, where we go into discussions and panels, workshops. We've got an unconference, and we've got an opportunity. This photo here is of the conservatory at the Barbican. And we've got an opportunity to work with the royal designers in industry who are hosting an incredible installation across the conservatory where designers will get the opportunity to network. We've got physical activations across the whole of Barbican, including a bookshop that we've hosted with Material Matters, a product exhibition with one of our mission partners. We've got material exhibits and installations, and a poster exhibition, a call for abstract, which if you've been to a World Design Congress before, it's very much at the heart of that. There are multiple opportunities to network, and I think that's something when I've been playing around with the shape of this is creating lots of opportunities to discuss and talk within sessions while listening to colleagues and experts and pioneers. We've created lots of longer breaks and lunches and opportunities around the sessions to give people a chance to catch up. We're also playing around with the Barbican space to create spaces where 2 people might want to talk or a wider discussion. We're working with people like Nook Pods and Smile Plastics to create a series of smaller pods where people can find quieter spaces to kind of download and discuss. And then we're creating spaces for networking, drinks, and discussions. And then, of course, after Congress, and I know this is a wider ambition of World Congresses in part, is connecting with other design aspects that are happening in the city. And of course, we've got London Design Festival that's kicking off on the 13th of September. So we found an opportunity on the 11th and 12th of September in between World Design Congress and London Design Festival to connect with London, hopefully a bit further afield as well, but opportunities across venues, designers, design studios to allow for our global colleagues to really take in the city. So I thought one of the nice things to start with who's already attending. That is, we're just over halfway on selling our ticket sales, and I can't tell you, every person I speak to within community networks globally still has tickets to buy. So we know that we've got audience members and delegates coming from designers as individuals, both in studios and as individuals, businesses, researchers and educators, policymakers. And I wanted to give you just a bit of data so you can understand it, but we're seeing like 22% currently designers, 29% businesses, of which we're seeing across businesses. I've added some logos down the side, but people from Google, Nesta, what's most Schneider Electrics. We've got people from the British Council, from Design, Earth Percent. And then when we move into researchers and educators, 23% currently of the ticket sales and policymakers. And this final 14%, and the only reason I haven't added it in big is climate change organisations that are coming through. And of course, we want them there as a catalytic moment for everybody to discuss. It wasn't who we were seeing originally attending, but we're really chuffed to see that the community is coming together to talk about the impact of design and design for planet. Over the course of the 2 days, what we see is a definition between the 2 days. The first day is about stories from the future, very much looking at what is at the forefront of design and in Design for Planet agenda. We're looking at how individual designers and what they've pioneered in new practice and skills. You'll see that threaded throughout the Congress sessions and the Hive sessions. Very much on day one, it's about use less. So what's at the heart of net zero and the circular economy, and how is design part of business models and products and services? So we're exploring that. And again, at this point on day one, we're looking at the collaboration, particularly between businesses and policy. That to say, these threads do fall throughout, but this type of definition has allowed us to program um, and curate with nuance between the 2 days. So on day two, we're learning from the past to see the future, looking at all of our kind of the craft and the design, what different sectors and collaborations need to do together and apart to do this, and then grow more. That's the big theme. How does biodiversity and design come together? And then of course we'll be looking at collaboration across communities, and AI is a thread throughout, not least, and nature. Then this is a chance for just me to give an overview of how it might look at Barbican. I'm sorry for the bright green if that's come up really bright on your screen, but this is the best way I can show the overarching plan. Everything down this left-hand side here is everything that's Congress sessions in the main hall. So that's the 1,200 people together. We open with the futures here, stories of hope and possibility. We've got Alexi Levine from Desolinator. We have Charlotte McGuire, who is an Earthshot Prize winner around a beautiful design of a stove. We've got the Future Observatory, who's a huge research funder in the UK, looking at how research can really define design for planet in the future. We come out of the break and we're looking at the intersection of design and economics. I won't mention WDO specifics. I can't. Natalie's probably laughing, going, should I have included that? But we've included it. The intersection of design and economics will be Mariana Mazzucato and Kate Raworth, really exploring that at the intersection. And then, of course, we have Lord Foster, who's bringing about his extensive career in sustainability and design, and really unpicking what it is to be that in such a long career. Then we go into a lunch, and after lunch, we go into what I've called the Hive programming across the whole of the Barbican. We will be streaming the main stage and two of our Hive sessions out as well. We have case studies across these two openers. They're still as a hold at the moment as I define some of the nuance. The case studies, or what we're calling Hive stories, are a chance outside of a conversation between two people or a panel. This is a deep dive into something that's being pioneered within Design for Planet. And so we've got 6 different case studies that will go across business, designers, policymakers, and allow for people to really deep dive. We've got why circular business design makes sense. So this very much is all around businesses and how circularity and these 2 talks come together, 2 separate panels exploring circularity in that and design for green in demand. We've got a Skills for Planet workshop, which is all about one of the legacies for World Design Congress from the Design Council of the UK is to upskill 1 million designers in green skills. So this Skills for Planet workshop is a chance for designers, policymakers, researchers, educators alike to really unpick what it is to put green skills together going forward. Waste Not, Want Not, From Waste to Wonder, looking at circularity. And then we start to work on circular design and green skills and really unpicking it in panels. And then we're putting on an unconference, which is looking at from lab to market. And this is a chance for what we're calling the glue in the UK. And again, for global colleagues to explore how people like Nesta, the Design Council, take research and business and put it together for good, especially within the climate action. What I've got, and of course, just to highlight, we are sending this deck out, but here are some highlights across the 2 days that outline some of that detail that I've just talked about. It gives you some examples on some of the case studies and some of the people that are speaking. But after the Hive sessions, we come back into the main hall. That big red dot is a kind of holding point. We're just in the final discussions of that talk. We've got a fantastic keynote from one of our trailblazers, Priya Aliwalia, looking at her circular fashion label, Aliwalia. And then we finish the day with a conversation on legacy and responsibility with Brian Eno and Tori Sue. And that there, for me, is a kind of provocation about the first day and what we need to go into action for day 2. I am going to keep going. I can't see any questions coming through. Right. Then we go into day 2. And again, I'll explain some of the mechanisms around this. We open day 2 with Global Green Prints. We've got a series of short talks, so TED length talks. We hear from Thomas Heatherwick. We hear from Julia Watson from Low Tech. We hear from Leila Karaglu. And we hear from Miriam Asufu, looking at what it is for designing resilient futures, all coming at it from very different points of view, but looking at what it needs for designing resilient futures. We then come out of our break and we are working with a big UK organisation called Design for Good, who work globally with CDOs in global organisations to collaborate on lasting impact under the UN sustainability goals. They have got CDOs from General Mills, Nestle and Nedbank, all discussing what it is to collaborate at CDO level within global sized businesses and the challenges and what it takes to do that. Then we go into designing the age of stewardship with Indy Johar, who's one of our Design Council experts and a hero to many, who will really look at what it is to be Design for Planet in the future and being a steward within that. Then we go into the Hive programme. Before I talk in detail about the Hive programme on day 2, I will talk about it in some of the detail, but Congress sessions are for all. Hive programme is a chance for people to split out and go into rooms and thoughts that they really want to delve into and deep dive into. We will have a delegate app, a whole World Design Congress app, which will allow for participants not only to book into their Hive sessions, but also to network with other members of the 1,200 strong community. So the app's just in its development stages and it will launch in August with a month to go. And that allows all of the delegates to book in these sessions. So as we go into this day, we have a lot more panels and workshops. And so this is a chance for building out, cultivating community excuse me, cultivating community champions, a global skills revolution. We have a lot of colleagues from across the globe coming together to discuss that. Of course, we've got sustainable intelligence and designing ethical, green, and AI ecosystems. Again, AI is something that is a part of every conversation. I'm sure it will be, but we felt that it needed a space really to understand what it means to do ethical and green AI ecosystems, given the challenge that we all face. Then we start to build out things in place. So thriving cities, designing for future prosperity. We're working with Arup and C40, and we're looking at we're hopefully bringing in a C40 mayor there. But we also have colleagues from C40 really looking at how you design for future prosperities within cities. And this is where I won't give details about everything, but I'll give you a bit of breakdown in terms of workshops. I know that we've got design declares on here from a different country. I haven't noted which one, but we've got a workshop with design declares, looking what it is from ideas to action and building that into it. We're working with Slow Factory, who are based in New York, but work globally across design, decolonizing design, and education. They're doing a designing possible future workshop with their founder, Celine Seman. And then we're working, I mentioned it already, with the Royal Designers in Industry, who are doing this by its very nature, which will be a really participatory, networking-led installation across the conservatory. And we also have the Navigating Societal Change book launch with Julie Hort and Sarah Griesler from, and I'm sorry if I've got their names wrong, if any of their colleagues are in the room, although I don't think you are, because a lot of Denmark are on their long break right now. So then we come into the main hall in the afternoon after our break to look at global policy shift. We have Lord Deben, who's part of the global climate, who was part of the global climate group, and he's discussing global policy shift with the Director of Sustainability from Carney. And then, as you'll see, there's another red dot. Obviously, we're just keeping our top secret lid on how we might close out Congress in an impactful way that really takes the last 2 days into consideration, acts as a provocation for us all moving forward, and indeed kind of comes back to what that catalytic moment is around allowing people to network, allowing people to discuss and provoke and debate, and allowing people to make connections that will have lasting impact in Design for Planet. If we look, again, I can send this out, but this document gives you a little bit more detail in some of the names, some of the organisations that we're working with to build this out. A lot of discussion with WDO members, if any of you on the call, hello again. And then we go, I thought it was best to outline some next steps then. Our website next week is launching the wider programme. So far, it's got highlights that I've just outlined there, but outlines a lot more, keeping still a couple of top secret areas where we're just developing the final spaces. I want to say why we're being very considered about that. The climate agenda looked very different when even I started as executive producer on this event 14 months ago. And so we're really trying to be active and inclusive and really up to date with the climate agenda within design and across the multiple design disciplines. So that's why we're holding back a couple of spaces. As I've mentioned, we've got the Congress app will be launched, and that will allow you to connect with other delegates. We've got a digital event companion, which will come with that for delegates, and allow people further reading and reference from everything that's come up in Congress. And then Design Safari, just an idea, it gives you discounts for other things in London, discounts for design specific and design adjacent shops that might support that, and exhibitions and events. There's a key event that's being designed around global policy and global governments with design as well. And then also we're really keen to give you all an exclusive discount for your networks, because of course you will sit within the networks that should be very much a part of World Design Congress. Right, I'm going to stop there. Sorry if I've gone over. Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you very much, Alex, for this very comprehensive overview. So now I am very pleased to introduce you to Elif Kocabiek from longstanding WDO member, Izmir University of Economics. Over to you, Elif.
Thank you, Dorothy. Hi, everyone. Let me share my screen. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Elif from Izmir University of Economics. I'm an assistant professor in Industrial Design Department. What I can say how I'm connected to WDO is in different ways. Like we did a bid from Izmir World Design Capital bid. We did world design talks in the city of Izmir, and we did several World Industrial Design Day events. And I'm also acting as a community liaison for the World Design Organization since 2019. As I said, I'm coming from Izmir University of Economics. This is our building, and we have the different 5 departments here, and also graduate programs. And this is us celebrating the 20th year this year. Now we're in the 21st. We are an active member of WDO, and now I'm going to share my experiences with you. I just realized that it was good for me also to take a look back and see what we have been doing. Since 2017, I was attending World Design Congress, and the first one was in Torino in Italy. And I realized that every time we had something like an agenda, I'm saying I'm representing my institution, but we as also coming from city of Izmir, all the other members, we also who are coming from Turkey, but also we becomes like the friends that I made in these events. And I'm looking forward to meet my friends in London this year. So this we is growing, and it's I know you've been always going around to different congresses and conferences and so on, but I believe really WDO makes it like a growing family for me. So what I can say that maybe these can be hints for you. We had some sort of little, not like an agenda, but something to do. So the first time we had the World Design Capital bid, but we lost it. We were a good candidate.
Sorry to interrupt you, Elif. If you'd like
It's
to just share your screen, we're seeing the whole of your page. So maybe go into the full share screen.
Oh, I'm sharing full screen right now. No, you don't see it like that.
No, we're not. We're seeing the sides.
Okay. Let me then. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm so sorry. I don't know why. Okay. How do you see now? Can you see the whole screen?
When you're not sharing, if you share, go into the share
Sorry.
screen. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry. I thought that you were seeing it. I'm sorry. I didn't ask. Maybe I'll share my entire screen, and that will be the best to do. Is this better?
Perfect.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to go back, or just I move on from here?
Right? No, that's fine. Please continue.
Okay. I'm sorry. As I said, we were a good candidate. We lost it very nicely to Lille, and we wanted to meet them, but also there was an opportunity for us to show that we're coming from Izmir and we would like to do world design talks. So I'm going to show you some photographs. And so we had this in our minds to do something. Maybe you can do such a thing. Or in 2019, I was nominated to the board. And in 2021, with David Kusuma, we wrote a paper together. We did a paper presentation. I couldn't go to Tokyo, but with my students and also Professor Can Özcan here, the department head, he went and we had a poster presentation with our students to share there. And I'm not planning anything for Design for Planet today, this time, but I'm so eager to meet my friends, make new friends, and I'm so excited to hear the program today. So as we had these Izmir t-shirts, and it was so good to see Hartmut Esslinger there, and then we shared our t-shirts to then Mugendi, Luisa Bocchietto, Sireni Sirenavasan, and we sort of like shared our intention to do the world design talks in Izmir, and how we became really close afterwards. And this is from India, a scene, and also like Sartachar Sen, who was nominated there, and this is from again like Izmir, and also Alpayar, who put me in the connection with WDO was there. So what I can say shortly is that don't forget your business cards, but also go with the flow, because it's all this serendipity, because you intend to get to know some people, but then you get to know some other people. And this is like not only like for me, not like academia, but all businesses, research centers, and everywhere, like policymakers. So the variety is diverse. And I'm so eager to learn from the WDO events and the congresses. So I'm so eager to learn from the WDO and learn from each other. And also the good part, pass it on to the young generations, like we attended with this poster presentation. And not only connect for yourselves, but also connect for the others. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Elif, for bringing your first-hand experiences of World Design Congress to the conversation. So now I will share my screen. Okay, so now we will move on to the process of registration. So to kick off your journey at the World Design Congress 2025, you must, of course, first register.
Sorry
Not
to interrupt, Dorothy. So now we can
Yes.
see all of your.
You can see everything?
Yeah, we can-
Okay. Okay, I will just share normally. And here we go. Oops. Let me come out of here. Can you still see everything?
Right now we can just see the slide, which is looking good.
Fantastic, fantastic. So not only to kick off your journey, as I mentioned, at the World Design Congress 2025, you must, of course, first register. So not only will this ensure a smooth and secure experience for all delegates, it will also allow us to accurately plan logistics, such as seating, catering, as well as allowing us to provide you with the essential credentials for the 3 days. So WDO members in good standing are eligible for up to 3 complimentary tickets. So 1 for a voting delegate, 2 non-voting delegates, 1 of which should be a young designer delegate aged between 18 and 35. So I'm often asked about the emphasis that WDO places on the young designer delegate. For us, this is a deliberate investment in the next generation of design leaders. It's a way to bring fresh perspectives and renewed energy into WDO's ecosystem while fostering continuity and long-term engagement. So some of you may already be familiar with the registration page, but for those of you who haven't yet registered, here's what to expect. One representative from your organization is responsible for registering all delegates. You can return to the system at any time to make changes or updates. Once registered, each delegate will receive an email confirmation. So just to be aware that in order to have fully completed the registration process, there are two parts. So the first part will tell you that you're on your way, but it indicates that there is still information that you should be completing to complete the process. And you will know that you are fully registered when you receive an email containing your QR code. So this confirms that you've successfully registered. So do look out for an email with the subject, "Your journey to Congress starts now." If you are not attending with a young designer, please note that you have 2 complimentary tickets as opposed to the 3 complimentary tickets. So now that you've registered, it's not too early to start planning how you will get to Congress once you arrive in London. Please do bear in mind that World Design Congress and the World Design Assembly will take place at 2 different venues. So the Barbican for days 1 and 2, as mentioned by Alex, and the Design Museum on day 3. So both venues are very well served by public transport, but do note that there is a 9-kilometer distance between the 2 venues. So I'll now hand over to my colleague, Natalie, who will speak to you about the voting process. Over to you, Natalie. Sorry, you're on mute, Natalie.
I will be talking a little bit about the General Assembly and, of course, the voting process as well. So we've already enjoyed at this point 2 full days of the World Design Conference and the conferences and exhibition spaces. And now, as Dorothy mentioned, we are at a second venue for the General Assembly, which is the Design Museum. The Design Museum, as Alex and Dorothy have both mentioned, is located in Kensington, part of London. We are very excited to be hosted at. This is a preeminent museum in London. It's one of the largest independent design collections that exists in Europe. So we're very pleased to be holding our General Assembly on the 2nd floor with the opportunity to visit all of the exhibits at the end of the General Assembly proceedings. This is a picture from our General Assembly in 2019. Some of you may have been there. It shows a typical setup for a General Assembly. It's based on the United Nations model where all of the WDO member organizations have assigned seats for the General Assembly. This helps us maintain quorum throughout the day as items are voted on. It also allows us to understand if any individuals have left the General Assembly room for whatever reason and we are headed into a voting period. We're able to quickly understand if quorum has been lost and how we might proceed with the day's agenda. We also ensure that the delegates from your member organization are sat together. So as you saw in a previous photo, if you're attending with 2 additional delegates, a total of 3, the 3 of you will be sat together, but you'll be able to network with those in front of you, behind you, and next to you. We do try to adjust the seating every single year, so you're never sat next to the same member organization. In terms of how the General Assembly is governed, if you have attended a General Assembly in the past, this might be very familiar to you, but if it's your first time attending, we have two documents that really help us run the proceedings of the General Assembly in terms of its procedure. We have the Constitution and bylaws, which determine all of the do's and don'ts of the General Assembly. It's also all of the timelines that we follow in terms of information on constitutional changes, on sharing the agenda, and procedures on the election process. However, we also have an agenda that's circulated 1 month in advance of the General Assembly date. You'll see here a sample from Tokyo, where we'll highlight what you can expect on that day. It is very similar year to year. It is essentially a meeting, an annual general meeting. So we'll have the president's address, operations reports, a treasurer's report. We'll have information on our constitutional changes. The election will also take place, and we'll have some member highlights as well that we'll share essentially what took place during the last 2 years. The General Assembly is a full day meeting, so it will run typically from 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll welcome delegates for a little networking coffee and the opportunity to check in, and it's followed by a reception in the evening, so it is quite the full day. In terms of voting, we vote in 2 different capacities in our General Assembly. You'll see here a photo from our 2011 General Assembly that took place in Taipei, where delegates are holding their voting cards. We are returning to a process similar to this for our time in London. And here you'll see this has been shared with our members in yesterday's newsletter, and also posted online for about the last month in our members only section of the website. Here are the list of motions that we will be voting on at the General Assembly. So here you see that there are 7 motions that we assume will take place during the General Assembly proceedings. They include very similar ones every year, such as the approval and the adoption of the agenda, the approval of the minutes from the last General Assembly, the financial report, a secretarial address change. You'll see all of the documentation has been provided to you, and we'll show you where you can access this if you have not seen it yet. Of course, these motions are voted on during the General Assembly's proceedings, so we expect that as members attending in person, these are some of the motions that you will vote on. However, we also have our election for the Board of Directors, and due to a change a few years ago, all WDO members, whether they will be present in London or not, are able to vote in this election. It's done online, it's done in advance up to the General Assembly. So voting will open on the 18th of August. It will close on the 11th of September, which allows all of our WDO members to really have an opportunity to run through the slate of nominees, read about each delegate, review all of the candidates, read their statements of intent, watch all of their nominations videos, review the letters of recommendations that they might have received from other WDO members. And this election takes place within the proceedings of the General Assembly, but slightly independently, because if you're not attending in person, you are still able to cast your vote. And we will count all of the votes during the proceedings of the General Assembly with the objective of making that announcement of the new 2025-2027 Board of Directors at the end of the day on 11th of September. I want to just remind everyone that each WDO organization can select 1 president-elect and 9 board members, and every WDO member organization has 1 vote, which is why in the registration process, as Dorothy showed you, we ask that you designate a voting delegate. This voting delegate is the one that will receive the voting ID and the voting key in order to cast their ballot for the election. The system is such that you are only able to vote once. So we encourage you really to be sure of the decision you're making. Once you have voted, that choice is considered final. We won't be reopening or reissuing any voter IDs or voter keys. That is your final ballot that will have been submitted. If you are attending the General Assembly and you plan to be with us in London, just as a tip, we would encourage you to wait to cast your vote on the 11th of September if you can. This allows an opportunity with you to potentially meet in person with the candidates if you haven't ever met them before or they're a new face to you. or you're a new WDO member and you haven't had that opportunity to network with each of the candidates yet, using those days of the 9th and 10th September to get to know the candidates, to understand their platform, to understand their statement of intent and what they might do as a WDO board member is really important in terms of, content gathering and networking, and might allow you to make a more informed decision. So you will still be able to cast your vote even during the morning of the 11th of September, and there is time dedicated in the General Assembly agenda for this process. I'll welcome back Dorothy to go through the document access.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Natalie, if you don't mind going across with the slide. So just a reminder that all of the key documents pertaining to this year's World Design Congress can be found in the members area of WDO's website. If you require any help retrieving your user or your passcode, then please do not hesitate to get in contact with me and I will be happy to provide you with those codes. Here you'll be able to find information around board nominations, backdated copies of member minutes, so all of the information that will help you to be well prepared for this year's Congress. Move to the next slide. So please do continue to enter your questions in the Q&A, and we will have some time towards the end of this session to answer those questions.
Now moving into a different section of the Congress, the satellite events. We want to make sure our members experience a full variety and a complete program when they travel to the World Design Congress. The first of those satellite events will take place on September 8th, the day before the first day of conference. On the evening, it is the WDO Welcome Gala. As you can see, the Ironmonger Hall, where the event will take place, is quite a different scene from the Barbican brutalist architecture. Here we're in a mix of going back to medieval, Gothic, and Tudor architecture to experience somewhat of the British royalty feel, if not, as you will see in the next picture, a Harry Potter type of experience. Following the request of our members to have more networking events and a time to gather at the launch and beginning of the World Design Congress, we're launching this year this Welcome Gala. It will start with a cocktail, followed by a full gala dinner, and it is the opportunity for our members to connect, our promotional members to join and participate in this fundraising event that allows us to support the mission of WDO. We're quite happy to have found the Ironmonger as a venue for this event, since it is walking distance from the Barbican. So if you've been able to secure one of the hotels recommended nearby, you will be in really walking distance of the venue, and we really look forward to launching the celebrations and the event itself with this WDO Welcome Gala.
Thanks, Bertrand. Indeed, this is an exciting new addition to the Congress program for us at WDO this year, but we're not done there. As Alex mentioned earlier in the webinar, we also have the London Design Festival that's taking place from the 13th to the 21st of September. And this was a really exciting part of the bidding process when Design Council first got in touch with WDO about hosting the World Design Congress in 2025, was that it would be positioned just before the London Design Festival, so that WDO members who are making the journey all the way to London might also be able to participate and attend some of the really exciting activations and activities that take place during this time. So a program is being built that will bridge that Friday, the 12th of September, day from the General Assembly to the start of the London Design Festival, in order to ensure that our delegates can enjoy a maximum amount of activities during this time in September. And if you happen to be one of our French members, or returning, or doing a combo trip of London and Paris, we also have an extended invitation from APCI, our member based in Paris, who are opening France Design Week on the 12th of September. It is a short train ride from London to Paris, if this is a possibility for some of our members. And this has been organized by one of our delegates who will be with us in London just prior to this, and who actually hosted a WDO member webinar a few months back. So we're able to share this information with you a little bit later as well. If this was not enough information for you and you wanted to take a quick screenshot of one of the slides from today's presentation, perhaps I would suggest it be this one. It gives a nice overview of what's taking place if you want to maximize your 5 or 6 days in London with us. So we would suggest arriving potentially on the morning of September 8th, attending our welcome dinner in the evening, as Bertrand just shared. We have our 2 days of conferences at the Barbican Center. On the evening of the 9th of September, I should mention there is a reception at the conservatory that Alex shared following day one. So there is an opportunity to network with the wider Congress delegates following the day one conclusion. But on day two, on the 10th of September, you do have a free evening in London. On the 11th of September, we have our General Assembly at the Design Museum, followed by the President's reception. On the 12th of September, we're going to encourage you to take advantage of the Design Safari, the member activities that Alex hinted at, with, of course, a free evening, and then the opening of the London Design Festival on the 13th of September.